Hey. So I just got back from the food bank, picking up some bread and some eggs and some tuna. Yesterday, the pastor's wife brought me some shampoo and toilet paper. March 1st is coming and my house note is due. I had 2 ounces of gold stolen. I had 2 1-ounce gold coins stolen out of my safe the first year we were here. I never thought that anybody would come into my house and steal things. I never thought that anybody would cut cords on my power tools. I never thought that I could ever be hated so much that someone would actually want me dead. Enough to actually do things that could render me dead. And nobody notices. It's just blown off. Nobody asks, well, who did it? Who did it? I showed them pictures. I sent pictures. I asked if the recording equipment was on and working. I said audit in that recording several times. When I said audit, I did not mean for my children and I to become the experiment and or way of auditing just how fucked up this system has become and how they are sacrificing and losing our children several thousand a day because they think I'm new, because they think I'm retarded, because they think because I'm not on the same spectrum that they're on, or color, or whatever the fuck. This is not made for children. I am not a child. I am grown. And I'm in great pain. Great pain. Physically, mentally, emotionally. And my joy is in a cage being dangled while people play baseball. Robin Williams. Shall we talk about Robin? Which Robin? Robin Williams. I recall when the announcement was made, I was sitting in a room with 2 women. And their first reaction was to blame him and damn him to hell. My reaction was, hold on a minute. It's really easy. Judas was the one who took the bag. Judas was the one who took the bag. $30 pieces of silver. I've lost a lot of people to suicide. There is not a suicidal fiber in my being. And the people that know me know that. Trauma bond. They call it a trauma bond. My Achilles tendon is all of those that I've lost. People call it the S word. And then you have boxers that don't want to use certain words. Why shouldn't I be able to use certain words? And why are you so worried about getting banned, barred, discarded because you use a certain word? You bow. You suck the teat, so you gotta follow the rules. I tried to bring my family to a place where we could have bees and honey and goats and milk. I tried to provide my offspring whatever it took. I chose life, and I made a commitment. But everybody wants to discard. Let's just pretend that didn't happen, because it's not convenient to this narrative. Let's just pretend that she didn't accomplish that, and that she didn't drive 2 children from Mississippi to Michigan because she didn't want those 2 children to grow up in the turmoil that was Mississippi. I try not to talk about Mississippi because true things happened to me there. And just because it isn't convenient to your narrative and how you want it to end, I was spit on. I was told that I didn't belong in certain stores because of the color of my skin. I went to pick up Western Unions at grocery stores in Jackson, and I stood in line and was stepped in front of and waited on before because I was. Why, people? Why? 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 This is white. This is white. White is an absence of color. Snow white. Snow white. White is an absence of color. I'm not white, but you're not black. Are you African? Are you Jamaican? Are you Caribbean? Are you Haitian? Are you Egyptian? Because all of you lovely, lovely humans, lovely humans, the lovely humans will hear what I'm saying. The not so lovely ones will take this and run in a whole other direction to a narrative that is not based on fact. Everybody wanted to rush off and get their DNA tested. How many haplogroups you got? How many are there? How many haplogroups are there? What are the... Now we go into seed. Parent. What do you call them? Plants. Plants grow in certain environments across the globe, and some climates will nurture certain things in plants. Haplogroups. DNA. DNA, RNA. Every carbon-based living thing has it. All the way down to the little seed in the ground. People want to judge me. People want to say, she's got to be drunk. She's got to be high. She's got to be something because that she ain't right. Well, if you'd had your head bashed into a tombstone, or if you'd had your head bashed into a wall, or if you had had your body tossed about, you'd probably seem drunk. You'd probably sound high. You'd probably be a little odd. Traumatic brain injury. Traumatic brain injury can happen if you get your head bashed into a wall. A traumatic brain injury can happen if you get a percussion close enough to your skull to cause your brain to thump. Percussion. EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. I'm not talking about conspiracies. I'm talking about traumatic brain injuries. genetics, epigenetics, eugenics. I speak the language. I can type it, and you guys can call me an AI or a bot or plug my shit into some shit and make some shit come out. You can do whatever you want. I'm an alive, living human being on the other side of this screen. And you can discount, and you can disclaim, and you can redact, you can redirect and delay, and you can blame me and never take responsibility for your failure. Just keep pointing at me. Just keep pointing at me and making me the villain. Go ahead. Because as you're pointing at me, making me the villain, you're missing the villains. Because I am probably one of the least, would not force anything to anyone to anywhere, but the picture's been painted. And if we try to discuss it, we're shushed. Because we can't let the truth come out. We have to let the fictionizers fictionize, and we have to erase the actual memory that we lived. But there's been nobody in the background to get an actual real life right now happening. No, they're satisfied with once a month somebody stopping in and checking. They're satisfied with somebody having to make a report that a child needs to go to the doctor. And turns out the child had to go to urgent care because there was no doctor. Whereas I have all of the services on standby here, have provided references, numbers, addresses, that I can't make appointments for children that are not here. I can't receive services for children that are not here. The children are not being given services there where school shootings happen and a mom was just convicted. That's where they are, in that county. Now, the predetermination of how we ended up here in this county has been all erased because it's not convenient to the narrative. There were agreements, and there were negotiations, and there were promises made, commitments, verbal contracts made. But those are not convenient to this narrative that's being noveltied and a predetermined end. I would prefer that none of these people be part of my movie. I would prefer that none of these people be part of my encyclopedia of me. I would prefer that my children be an environment that tells them who Jesus is, and that Jesus loves them, and that Jesus loves even me. Because I am so glad that Jesus loves me. Because if I didn't know that Jesus loved me, I would have given up. Like I can list off. And not just giving up by whatever means, method, and motive, and whatever. Giving up can mean drinking yourself to death. Giving up can mean fentanyling yourself to death. Some of these kids aren't even trying to die. They're just playing. Like it's a joke. Like it's taking shrooms in the back parking lot by the tennis courts and then deciding that you're Iron Man and can bash your head into a locker. Why'd I never do shrooms? Because I was behind that dude in the hallway watching him bash his head into lockers and bleeding. And everybody thought it was funny. I didn't think it was funny. I thought it was the most heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, heart-rending thing. Because he didn't mean to do that. He just didn't know what he was doing. It was a game. I thought it was funny. Like putting purple microdots and mescaline in your eyeball. I could say your name because I remember you. Not because I was your boyfriend or you were my girlfriend or anybody was girlfriend to anybody. That's your story, bro. I know my story. I know what I'm guilty of. But people want to gossip. People want to say some garbage that is just, okay, if that's the novel, if that's the movie that you want to, if that's the role you want to write for me in your little fantasy island, deplain, boss, deplain. Hervé Vallechez, Ricardo Montalban. It came on around about the time The Love Boat came on. Gen X. At the top of it, though. See, I had a child at the bottom of it. I was his mom. I'm still his mom. But he works for, his paycheck depends on the way he supports his family depends on the one in control of the communication. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. Well, I never, my kids are out of cradles. Now they're old enough to survive. And now they can be benefited off of. I never wanted to keep any of my children. My children will say, she kicked us out. My children will say, she told us to leave. My children will say, she kicked us out. No. Mom has boundaries. Mom has an environment that she thrives in. And Mom would rather thrive than fly and eat shit. I would rather have a land of milk and honey than have a land of shit and no services. I'd rather be out here in the middle of the sticks with no services and have milk and honey. Because I don't need services if I have milk and honey. It's when you're in Oakland County where they have no services. I'm sorry, what services? How about we look that word up and the multiple uses of the word services? Church services, welfare services, therapist services. If you're in a land of milk and honey and all of your needs are met, you don't need services. If you remove the reason for depression and anxiety, if you remove the toxins from your environment, you don't need services. If you organically grow things and not use Monsanto or Roundup, you wouldn't have the epigenetics, eugenics battle going on. But what is epi? What is a epi? A EPI genetics? What is that? What is that? They don't know what eugenics is either. EU genics. They don't know what that is either. We don't teach their children that. We don't want you to go have your DNA tested because we don't want you to find out you're a mutt and you don't have the pedigree you think you do. First mother, first father. There was a first mother, first father. Morons. We're all related. Thing is that what happened in America? Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Schoolhouse Rock. We are a melting pot. We are a stew. We are a gumbo. We are a Vermont. There is no pedigrees here. But who's sitting throne over there where my people came from? Which group am I talking about? How many haplogroups you got? I know that there are certain haplogroups that protect their haplogroups, and they should. They have every right. It's a trail of tears. Every mama. But How I got here is irrelevant. The fact that I'm begging to sing to my children. Who's watching it? I'm getting entertained by it. Who's being entertained by watching a mother beg, watching her go through the emotional roller coaster? There's no hope. There's no hope for an end. There's no hope for an end. And I'm expected to sit the crumbs. I have nowhere to stay. And I have disabilities that cause pain physically. And I bought a futon and set up a home for parenting time. And I am to meet him in a neutral, I am not welcome in the home that my partnership with Stephen set up and negotiated. And I purchased on my credit card a futon to sleep on. But I'm being told by CPS workers, because Stephen won't speak with me, we have to have a mediator to be adults and make co-parenting decisions in the best interest of the children. And I'm not allowed to be angry. And I'm not allowed to be bitter. And I'm not allowed to be pissed off, because I should be able to drive down there and sleep on the futon that I bought to sleep on, regardless of who's in that house. Because my partnership with Steve as co-parent and as husband and wife why didn't he file for divorce 2 years ago? Why didn't he ask for parenting time 2 years ago? I have the court order that I had to get court ordered in order to get child support, because he didn't do it voluntarily. I was getting direct deposits from his paychecks prior to COVID so I could handle the household finances. He got laid off during COVID and the direct deposits stopped. He got unemployment during COVID and stayed working, and they paid him cash. And I stopped receiving my $300 a week direct deposits, and he did not pay a single house note, pleading the grace of financial hardship. Paperwork in writing. I am not the fraud. I always paid my bills. My credit has always been good. I paid off my student loans. I paid off car loans. I paid off his shit in the beginning so that we could move forward. I will never clean up a drunk and expect it to stick by any power of mine. But he's back drinking again, and he's carousing, and he's and I can't sing to them. I can't speak to them on the phone. But strangers can. He can answer the phone for caseworkers to talk to the children. But he can't answer the phone for me to talk to the children. So I'm just going to bow and disappear and pretend like the last 23 years, 25 years, 33 years, 40, 38. We'll just pretend like I didn't exist. We'll just pretend that all the things that I accomplished and contributed, we'll just pretend like that just happened by accident, because I don't even deserve to say I love you to their ear. I don't even deserve that. I shouldn't even be that present to even be able to say I love you through a phone, because he refuses to answer it. So I sing on his messages. Does he even let him listen? I don't know. I text him YouTube's links to his phone. I asked the children if they'd heard him. He said, I didn't have time. You don't even have time to let the children listen to a song that their mother found on YouTube and thought of them, and send it to you to share, to let them know that I thought of them. That was divulged in a supervised parenting time. I was sending him SOS. I was sending SOS to him all these years, all this time. And he never answered me, unless it was some audience, unless there was an audience. I've seen them once, because Steve brought them here to load their stuff and the dog, take it back downstate. I've seen them once. I asked if I could go to a family game night on the 15th, and the offer I got back through the worker was that I could drive down there and meet in a neutral place. I could drive down there. Steve doesn't have his vehicle because he wrecked his truck the night of the blizzard. And we had to cancel the following day because of the blizzard. But the night the blizzard was happening, he was out in it. And then he implied that the children were with him, where I had to call South Lyon, Novi, to send out an officer. I have the report, because he made implication through text message that the children were with him when he wrecked the car. He shouldn't have been out. He shouldn't have been out, but he's reckless. People thought that I was demanding that he come in a blizzard. No, before the blizzard hit, I had already sent a message to the worker. I expect we're going to have to cancel and reschedule. I've seen them once. And now he won't even let me talk to them. And they're still not being offered services. Let them be at school. Let them be. But there's a week off in February, and there's a week off in March. The week off, I suggested we have an in-person, everybody get together, bring the kids up here so you can, none of them have seen us together. None of them. We've not been allowed to be observed together. He's had control of them. And he won't allow me to tell them I love them, even by phone. And I've had them every day. While he moved other people into the house that we set up for parenting time that he never asked the court for, ever, in 2 years. But let's just pretend like I didn't exist until 4 or 5 months ago. Because in their mind, they don't know me. They don't know where. Who are you? Where's your family and why are you here? Well, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if I eat. I went to a food bank today. And the pastor's wife brought me shampoo and toilet paper. And March house note is due. And I am in pain. Mentally, physically, emotionally. And my children are my medicine. And my husband knows that. And he's refusing to give it to me. I can't even say I love them in their ear. What is that? What is that? I can't even hear their voice. What is that? That is not love. This from a person who professed to once have loved me. What do the children want? You're listening to him tell you what children want. The children have no one but him. No services. They're not available. There's waiting lists. I gave you the names and the support. If nobody's stepping up now to help, why would they? Why would they? They think it's a joke. My children are disposable. They don't. Why would anyone step up? There must be some reason why these children are disposable. I am. I'm still his wife. Why didn't he file 2 years ago? Why didn't he leave the house in Commerce and let us stay there? Why? I know why. Nobody else gives a shit. Humane. Shall I just start listing off their names again? Bend over and take it till we're done with you because, looks good on paper. Bend over and take it till we're done with you. There's 2 children. And you didn't even know about me until 6 months ago. And couldn't have given a rat's ass what happened in Oakland County. But you sent him back to him. And I'm not even allowed to tell him I love him in their ear because he won't pick up the phone. And I'm reduced to singing into his voicemail because I sang to my kids. And if you ask my older ones if I sang to them, and they tell you no, they're a lie. But my son is his subordinate at work. And Bethany is the biological mother who punched me in the neck 3 times, knowing full well I have cervical spine issues. February 3rd. But anniversaries, no one gives a fuck. Unless it's theirs. I'm supposed to remember the day your mother died. I'm supposed to remember the day your husband died. I'm supposed to remember the day your best friend died. Do you remember the day I lost someone? Why would you?